explanations will be given by the speakers, which will usually be the committee that's bringing the resolutions for and against those resolutions. Any new resolutions that we have must be prepared in writing and given to the chairman and to the resolution committee and to the secretary, and there should be additional forms up there if someone's sitting here today thinks of a new resolution that they can bring up. There's forms, and there should be forms available for you. The resolutions will be read one at a time. If there's a speaker for or against, that person gets to have 1 minute to speak. There can be a maximum of 3 for a resolution or 3 against the resolution. If one speaks for a resolution, then there must be one speak against it before another can speak for it. I know it's complicated, but those are good rules to have. And the sergeant of arms is timing those comments that you have to 1 minute each. This is mostly to make sure our convention doesn't bog down and spend our whole time talking about these resolutions. Nominations for the state convention would be brought to you by the nominating committee. If you do have an additional person that you'd like to nominate, or if you want to nominate yourself, there should also be forms available to make those nominations. Efforts will be made to fill all the slots of the committee, as well as the alternate spots. Delegates will be paired with alternates. That means that if you have a delegate 1, an alternate number 1 would be the person that would take that person's spot if they're not in the voting position. I'm just reminding everybody at the last paragraph, if you've got a copy of this, is that all delegates who go to the state convention are responsible for their own expenses and transportation and housing. And that concludes my report, and I move that these supplemental rules be adopted.
The question is on the adoption of the supplemental rules. Is there a discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Madam.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry,
You can
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
I would like to make an amendment to these rules. I would like to restrict the part that it talks about pairing. Delegates, alternates will be paired. Delegate 1 will be paired with alternate 1. And the reason for this is that voting strength. Alternate 1 and delegate 1, there's a possibility they would not be there, and therefore we would be only having. We have a possibility of having 9 delegates voting. If alternate 1 and delegate 1 is not there, then we are reduced to 8 voting, and we could be possibly reduced to, depending upon who shows up.
I believe the rules show that you have full voting strength in your delegations.
Not on all votes, especially votes taken in the caucus there, and that one has to do with voting for our parties,
okay.
For our party's chairman and some of the others as well. And plus, I just think every alternate should have a chance to replace somebody and vote in these proceedings. I'm just saying, I feel like we would voting strength. I don't want to be in a position, because I've seen it before at the state convention, where counties have been in positions where they've not had their voting strength, and we're already in a minority in our caucus, in our district caucus already, because we have the big huge county from Gregg County, and I think we may have some from Smith County. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to discuss this? As a privilege from the chair, we decided. Okay.
As a chairman of the nominating committee. Okay. The reason that we did this in the nominating committee was because certain alternates were like last on the list, and they never got to vote for anything at last convention. So what we thought is, if you're chaired with someone, it's your responsibility to take care of that person and give them equal time in the chair if they want equal time, or you have to take a break. You go get the person that's paired with you, so it's your obligation to make sure that they get some time sitting there, because there are lots of people who didn't get any time sitting in the delegate chairs, and that's why we paired them, so the two people would be working together of who sits where when.
And just as a privilege, as a matter of fact, that is exactly what we do at the national conventions. We are paired up with delegates, and it works just great, because then the alternates and delegates generally always have time shared in the seats. Whereas if delegate one, the other way of working it is delegate 1 through 9 in this instance, any one of those 9 delegates could leave, and only delegate 1 gets to trade off, and it goes down that way. Now, if delegate 2 leaves, for instance, delegate 1 gets to sit in that seat. When delegate 2 comes back, you're at full strength again. Then delegate 5 leaves, then delegate 1 gets to sit in that seat again. And so it sort of shares that whole convention experience, and that's why we decided to do it, based on what happened in the convention. Now, yes, go ahead.
Madam Chairman, in that respect, I understand what you're saying, but I would also like to reiterate that there are some who have not done anything within the party and are just now getting new to the party process. And so if they are listed as a delegate, say seat number 9, and they're not really sure as to what's even going on and so forth, then if you seat them in the place of seat person number 1 or number 2, do you see what I'm saying? That you may not have the full party strength with what's going on and what's being assessed. But that's just my opinion as being an alternate before. That I have learned from sitting behind and waiting until they have offered seats and so forth from others who did not show up. But if you only have them paired, then again, to reiterate, if Mr. Byers is number 1 delegate and I'm number 1 alternate and we do not show up, then, which that's not going to happen, but however there could be circumstances and you would lose that that voting strength.
Really, I've spent enough time on this. Are you ready for the question? Any other discussion?
May I ask a question, since I am new here?
Yeah.
If we voted this way for the purpose of the delegate knowing who to ask to come see it, if you get down there and that delegate one's not there, could not any of the other alternates sit in that delegate place?
We can move the alternates around, yes, but
Yes.
right now they're being paired, and
I
that's
know.
the way it needs
That's what
to
I'm
stay.
asking. If it stays paired like this, down there, you don't have an empty seat. You can move the alternates around?
Well,
Not
really,
with
you
this
should.
cannot
not
move
with
the
this
world.
vote.
Keep it paired.
Okay, but,
You
so
need to keep it
it's,
paired.
it is an empty.
Now, I will say that the nominating committee went to great lengths to, look at the delegates and the alternates, and not just from a position of how much work they've done in the party, but also they've looked at people in terms of their philosophy and generally speaking. Now, I'm also going to be down there as head of the delegation, and I've got a big whip. So if anybody gets out of line, I'm able to bring them back in, I think. But anyway, that's just a sidebar. Any question? Another discussion question?